Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, the Russell Berry Foundation, making a difference, Summit City MD, a provider of primary, specialty, and urgent care, the Northward Center, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, moving the region through air, land, rail, and sea. Gibbons PC. With 200 attorneys, Gibbons is a full-service law firm focused on handling major matters for mid-market companies and mid-market matters for Fortune 500 companies. MD Advantage Insurance Company. Adler Aphasia Center, offering therapeutic programming for stroke and brain injury survivors with aphasia. And by University Hospital, Newark, New Jersey. Promotional support provided by Insider NJ. And by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association.
This is One-on-One. I'm an equal American just like you are.
The jobs of tomorrow are not the jobs of yesterday.
Look at this. You got this?
Here it is, man. Look at that.
Life without dance is boring.
I don't care how good you are or how good you think you are, there is always something to learn.
Do you enjoy talking politics?
No.
People call me because they feel nobody's paying attention.
Our culture, I don't think, has ever been tested the way it's being tested right now.
Such a good question. High five.
Hi, this is Steve Adubato. You see all these folks behind me for a very good reason. This is the opening ceremony of an important research initiative. This is the Kessler Foundation. In fact, more specifically, it's the Tim and Caroline Reynolds Center for Spinal Stimulation at Kessler Foundation. Groundbreaking research will be going on here for people who are dealing with spinal cord injuries. Spinal stimulation in a way that, frankly, is only being done in a few places around the nation. The first center of its kind on the East Coast. We'll be talking to research participants, talking to clinicians and those who are the researchers here at the foundation looking to make a difference. Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill joined us as well, represents this district. And the bottom line is this. This Center for Spinal Stimulation is making a difference in the lives of those who are dealing with spinal cord injuries. They could be rehabbing, they could be doing all kinds of things to help themselves, but the potential exists to make an even greater difference in their rehab and their functionality here at Kessler Foundation. It's a huge event here at Kessler Foundation. Roger DeRose, who leads up the operation at Kessler Foundation, this Center for Spinal Stimulation. First of all, the name, let's talk about the name and why that's important, and beyond that, why this event and this center is so critically important for people dealing with spinal cord injuries.
Well, thanks, Steve. You know, this is Tim and Caroline Reynolds Center for Spinal Stimulation, but what we're doing here is we're doing the next generation of work that will be the new standard of care for spinal cord injured patients. But I don't think it'll end there. I think we'll be able to use many of the techniques here in stimulation for other mobility challenges as well.
You know, the term stimulation is being used a lot. Let's break this down, Roger. I don't want to get into, you're not a clinician, and we will be speaking to some of the researchers and clinicians here, but two types of stimulation, correct?
Right, we do two types of stimulation here. Transcutaneous, which is on the exterior of the spinal column on the skin. And then the second stimulation that we will undertake and do the first surgery this year is epidural, where we actually do an implant on the spinal cord column with a stimulator that can be controlled to, again, control the brain intention, what the person is thinking, to the healthy neurons below the level of the spinal cord injury itself. Reconnect those healthy neurons to what the person is actually thinking. So they can move their leg, they can move their toes. In some cases, they can stand. In a few cases, they've been able to walk. But it's also helping to improve many of the functional issues that spinal cord...
Day-to-day functions, talk about those.
Yeah, functional issues like blood pressure. One of the major issues that a spinal cord injured patient has sitting in a chair. Blood circulation, voiding, you know, so that they don't have urinary tract infections. And if we can get them up standing, Steve, we can improve bone density and we can improve muscle mass as well, which you always lose when you have a spinal cord injury.
You know, the other thing about this center, is it the first, one of the first on the East Coast?
This will be the first on the East Coast. It'll be the second in the country. And we have built on the shoulders of other great scientists at the University of Louisville and UCLA. And that's what science is all about. You don't want to start from scratch. You want to
Be sharing information?
Yeah, sharing information, learnings from those centers so that you can take it to the next level. And that's what we've been doing here. But it's very important for New Jersey, Steve. You know why? Because this will be the epicenter of where we will be applying for grants to the NIH, to the Department.
The National Institutes of Health. Is that one of the reasons why the First Lady, Tammy Murphy, is showing up today?
Well, I think that's part of it, but I think the other part is it's going to help us attract many new STEM jobs for New Jersey. And that's important as well, attracting that kind of talent.
Science, technology, engineering, and math jobs because of a center like this?
Exactly. I mean, people who believe in the purpose of what we do here, this is where they want to work, Steve.
You know, it's so interesting. We have a series, check it out. It's called The Future of Innovation. I noticed some of our friends here from the New Jersey Institute of Technology are here. Don Sebastian's here. Again, this is about helping people dealing with spinal cord injuries, but it's also about innovation.
Absolutely. I mean, this is where new patents will be filed for the future that we hope to share with other organizations so that they can continue to move forward.
Back up. Sorry for interrupting. Someone says, share. Isn't it proprietary?
Well, in many cases it is, but what you want to do is you want to try to help as many patients as possible. And that's what business we're in, is helping as many patients around the world as we possibly can.
And you are, in fact, a foundation.
Exactly, Kessler Foundation, right.
It's a big day. Congratulations, Roger.
Thank you so much, Steve. Thanks for being here.
The opening of this center is representative of so many of New Jersey's greatest values: resilience, persistence, optimism, hope, and generosity. While the center is the result of many different organizations, experts, and donors working together towards a shared vision, the words I just used particularly describe the lead donors, Tim and Caroline Reynolds.
This is a great honor for us, and Kessler and Rutgers Medical School, University Hospital have been a really important part of our lives since my car accident in 2000. So I was unlucky to have my driver fall asleep and break my back. I was extremely lucky that they took me to Newark, where I was happy to have Dr. Robert Heery operate on me. And I had to return a few years later because of a complication I had from the injury, and I can say straight up, the man saved my life. I was not expected to make it, and I did. When I had my car accident, I was 34, 35 years old. I'd just done something very risky and quit a great job and started a company with a couple friends of mine called Jane Street Capital. The reason I bring this up is when I had my car accident, I think we were up to like 6 employees. And it was a pretty hard hit. It was a pretty big setback for me, and it affected the company. Now we have over 1,000 employees, and we've done very well. And this has allowed Carol and I to do things like this. The reason I say that is I wouldn't have been able to do any of that without the team here at Kessler and Rutgers Medical School. That's a pretty profound thing to be able to say at my age. So thanks for that. Thanks for my life.
We're talking with Tim Reynolds, who is the co-founder of Jane Street Capital, and also it is the Tim and Caroline Reynolds Center for Spinal Stimulation at Kessler Foundation. This is a big event. All these people are here. The hope exists that people dealing with spinal cord injuries, you being one of them, makes a big difference.
Yeah, this is a revolutionary technology that's just now starting to take off, and it's really exciting to be part of a team that's able to work on it. Kessler is ideally set up for this research, in part because it's going to rely heavily on therapists. But look, nobody's ever gotten out of a wheelchair after a permanent spinal cord injury after about 3 months. This is the only exception to that. And it's working extraordinarily well. We just need a couple things. We need more money, more participants, and more doctors and therapists. And that's all starting right now. This is the beginning of something that's going to be very, very big.
Yeah, but you talk about more money, Tim. You and your family, your wife, put up a significant amount of money, ergo the naming rights, if you will, because
it works. Look, my wife and I have been supporting spinal cord research for 20 years, and it's a very slow, methodical process. It's the hardest problem that we've ever solved. It's the human brain. But for the first time ever, we have something that actually works. It's just a matter of time and money. So, yes, Carol and I are financially supporting it. It's a great honor to be able to do that. But it's a bigger honor to be part of this team, because the people who work here every day are fantastic. Unfortunately, I've been an inpatient at Kessler twice in my life.
You had your accident in 2000, if I'm not mistaken.
2000, right. A livery driver fell asleep on the Pulaski Skyway, and I broke my back, and I have what's called a complete injury, which means that I can't feel anything below the injury. I can't move. That's a very specific type of spinal cord injury, and that's where you can do pure research, because you know by the nature of it, if you have any improvement, it's because of what you're doing. Nobody ever just kind of gets over it after a few months. So it's time to get busy again. It's exciting. I'm really, really happy to be part of this.
We're talking to Dr. Peter S. Hirsch, who's a research participant here at the Tim and Caroline Reynolds Center for Spinal Stimulation, Kessler Foundation, but also clinically your background is?
I'm an ophthalmologist and actually work at Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School.
Doctor, you had an accident a while back. Describe it.
Yeah, I had a bicycle accident. I was just taking my normal routine bicycle ride. Don't know exactly what happened, but slipped on a rock, went down and had a spinal cord injury.
Describe in layperson's language how serious that injury was and is.
Well, I was medevaced to University Hospital, where I was operated on. And what it does is it injures the spinal cord, which paralyzes to some extent the muscles beneath the injury.
So, Doctor, you have had 30 treatments of transcutaneous stimulation. Describe it and how impactful it's been.
That's right, Steve. What they do is they place electrodes near the injury site, which is up in my neck. And this gives an electrical stimulation to the spinal cord, which helps to reinvigorate those injured areas. What it does is it improves function. So I'm now much better able to use, for instance, my left hand while typing. I can press the shift key while using my right hand to type. So it's made it much easier at work to get through a lot of my normal tasks.
But you're playing piano.
I play piano too. I played a little bit beforehand, and now I'm able to use my fingers well enough that I can still crunch out a few chords. It's not Chopin, it's not Billy Joel, but I'm getting there.
This center is very exciting.
Oh yeah, I think it's one of the most unique and interesting things in the field today. I think the stimulation studies hold the most promise, most importantly, to increase the function of people with spinal cord injuries. Every little bit goes a long way for your activities of daily life, for you're able to interact with your kids and your family and do normal things, to eat better at restaurants, to work better. It has extremely hopeful for spinal cord injury patients because it's patient-centric. It brings cutting-edge research to the patient to really be able to finally improve function, which I think is vital for those of us who have had spinal cord injuries.
To watch more One-on-One with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
We are speaking with Janelle Carnahan, who is a physical therapist at the Tim and Caroline Reynolds Center for Spinal Stimulation here at Kessler Foundation. Big crowd here, big day. Why is this center so important, particularly for people who are dealing with spinal cord injuries?
I feel it's so important because this is the best thing we have out there right now to help our individuals with spinal cord injury who come to us for research opportunities to regain movement, to regain function, to regain independence in their lives. The stimulation has been the most promising research that we've seen so far.
Do you know what I'm curious about is people want to have hope. We're going to be talking to people who have, in fact, had spinal cord injuries, dealing with the rehab process here at Kessler. What is the reason more than anything else for people to have legitimate, credible hope?
So far what we've seen with our transcutaneous studies is they've had years and years and years of traditional rehab. They've come to us for something different, and in just a matter of a few sessions, applying the stimulation and having them train in a functional manner, whether walking, using their arms to do something like grab a bottle and drink from it, they're able to do things they haven't done since their injury. And
so it's not like they haven't been doing any rehab. It's that this stimulation offers opportunities to improve and rehab in ways that we haven't experienced before.
Exactly. Yes. So everyone who's come to us for these studies, their injuries are more than a year post, so they've had all your traditional therapies, and they have not been able to do these things up until the point where we've trained them with the spinal stimulation. And the most important thing is that they're carrying it over at home without the stimulation applied.
That's important.
Yes. So they're able to, feed themselves, grab a bottle to drink from it, brush their teeth, do some walking at home without being in this research center.
We're here at Kessler Foundation, a very important center for spinal stimulation opening up. And some very important people are here to celebrate this. Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill, why are you here today, and why does this center matter so much?
This center is such a critical piece of our community. You can't find care like this anywhere else in the world. So to have the opportunities that people are afforded at Kessler right here in my district is just such a wonderful thing.
And the other thing, we were talking to Roger DeRose, the CEO here, and what he was saying was interesting, that having this center here in New Jersey has the potential to create jobs in the innovation field, technology, rehab, et cetera.
Well, as you know, New Jersey is one of the most innovative places on the planet. We have more scientists and engineers per square mile than anywhere else in the country. And so to have Kessler here to take advantage of, we have the best public school system in the nation, so our wonderfully educated population, and provide those jobs is critical. But just as critical is seeing people like Natalie. The last time I was here, Natalie, who's had her legs paralyzed, was walking in.
One of the research participants here.
Right, one of the research participants was walking in what they call an exoskeleton.
Yes, I've seen that. It's amazing.
Right, she looked a little like RoboCop, if you can imagine that. And I just passed by her in the hallway coming here, and she's walking with a walker. I've never seen anything like it. It is truly amazing.
Senator Tom Kean here. A big day for New Jersey, and particularly a big day for those who are dealing with serious spinal cord injuries.
It shows that New Jersey can be the leader of yet another center of gravity that's important to New Jersey families and families worldwide. And the fact that it can be here in New Jersey, and that you can have the optimism and the spirit, the energy, the technology, the science, the human capital, all that's come together today and pinpoint here at this great institute and foundation. It's important to get it done.
There are very few times in New Jersey, or frankly most places in the country, where you have people come together, bipartisan spirit. The First Lady, Tammy Murphy here, Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill, Senator Kean, Republican, Betty DeCroce, Republican Assemblywoman. Parties are relevant, obviously, no kidding, when it comes to helping people dealing with paralysis, spinal cord injuries.
This is dealing with the current issues and the future issues. We can all come together to make sure we've got the right dollars, the right research, the right direction for making sure that we're all coming together to say we need to have the right science, we need to have the right focus. We also need to have people, inspirational leaders, the donors who are here as well as the scientists who are here, are leaders across the country in making a difference in people's lives. And those are some of the stories you heard here today that was so inspirational.
How inspirational was it to hear Mr. Reynolds Tim talking about his experience and why he and his wife and their family have given so much to this center?
Yeah. Well, he talked about people every step of the way. The doctor that saved his life that first night at a wonderful hospital here in New Jersey.
University Hospital.
Yes, University Hospital, who was there at point to save that person that day, and then to keep on the maintenance issues, and then to talk about the staff that were here that gave him hope and inspiration, maybe a little bit of guidance on occasion, and how it's really a team spirit between the foundation and the institute here. That type of story that goes back decades long to come to this point where you can show it truly is a team effort. And when you have that type of team effort and people recognize it starts decades before to culminate, it was incredible. Incredible.
It's a great story. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
It's a big day here at Kessler Foundation. We are talking to Dr. Stephen Kirschblum, who is the Chief Medical Officer at Kessler Foundation and co-director of this Spinal Stimulation Center here at Kessler Foundation, the Tim and Caroline Reynolds Center for Spinal Stimulation at Kessler Foundation. Doctor, let me ask you this. You've been helping people for a long time with spinal cord injuries. Why are you so excited about a day like this and a center like this?
I'm excited because we're now embarking on a new, really transformative type of approach in helping people with spinal cord injury. So this is research that is taking place now, things that we've been starting to do this past year that we're moving forward to in the future, but that will enhance not only potentially movement, but other aspects that are impacted by the spinal cord injury, including their bowel, their bladder, sexuality, and so many other deficits that they have.
And you know, the fact that it is the second in the country, the first on the East Coast, significant for a lot of reasons.
Well, there are a couple of other centers. There are now 2 centers in the United States, so we'll be the third that are embarking on this.
But the first on the East Coast.
Yes, absolutely. We're very excited to be a center that will help take a lead in working with the others as well to really make differences in the lives of people with spinal cord injury. We want to help set the goals of what us and other centers, not only in this country, but other countries, can achieve and help the people across the world.
Let's break this down a little bit. There are many watching, I'm sure, asking, well, am I a candidate for one type of stimulation or another? And you were telling me something before we got on camera that's really interesting. It's too soon to know exactly who is the right candidate for what.
So I think it's important to understand that right now we're going to be doing research in 2 areas, transcutaneous stimulation and implanted epidural stimulation. They are different. While they're both spinal stimulation and they may do some of the same things, the people that may benefit from one may not always benefit from the other, or there may be ways that we can use both to be able to enhance some of the really amazing functions that we can see improvement on for these individuals.
It's interesting. So people have been rehabbing for a long time. People have been trying to get improved functionality, if you will. I know that's a word that's used a lot after a spinal cord injury. But this spinal stimulation offers an opportunity to rehab and improve in ways that haven't been experienced before?
That's a great question. I think that it's important to understand that...
Because people have been rehabbing for a long time.
Yes, they have, and the rehabilitation is extremely important. But we're looking now for the next phase. We're looking for a way that we can find to enhance and boost the spinal cord to be able to regain functions that it potentially can do on its own, even after a spinal cord injury. It's not just compensating and strengthening. It is a new philosophy of being able to teach the spinal cord to do the things with training that it potentially and inherently can do on its own.
The ceremony here at the Center for Spinal Stimulation at Kessler Foundation just concluded. And one of our, I'm not gonna say an old friend because she's still so young, but we've talked to her many times, Natalie Barrett, who is a participant here at Kessler Foundation. You've done the transcutaneous spinal stimulation. Natalie, talk to us about what it's done for you.
Well, it's a battery. It's like a car. It jump starts the places that need to be started. Again, I wasn't having too much motion back when my accident happened, 2015. I am now, because of Kessler and, of course, my attitude as well to want. I'm walking. I use my walker. I walked in here today from the parking lot, and I'm just going to keep on going. And with Kessler's help, because I'm still in the study, the goal is to stay out of the chair. So I'm out of it, and I'm going to keep going, nonstop. And Kessler it's just wonderful. The strides, the way everyone comes together and they want what I want. They want me to get better. And I love them. And I love it.
You know, a couple of years ago, we actually interviewed Natalie. It was interesting. I remember that walk. And by the way, go on our website, steveadubato.org, and put Natalie's name in. You'll see that. I remember the room that night. I remember people's reaction that night. It was powerful. It was moving. You inspired so many. Why are you even more hopeful than ever before? With all the challenges and difficulties people face who have spinal cord injuries, why are you more hopeful than ever before with a center like this?
Because I can feel the change. When I leave here, after the stimulation, my body, I can feel my whole inside jump. It's ready. I'm pumped, and I can honestly say that I owe it to the training and the staff and the study, and of course God and my will. And like I said, I feel the change. I can feel it inside of me, so I know, and I'm going to keep going, Steve. That's it.
We're rooting for you, but frankly, more importantly, we believe in you. Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you so much for having me. You're awesome.
No, you're awesome.
Thank you.
3, 2, 1. Yay!
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, the Russell Berry Foundation, Summit City MD, the Northward Center, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, Gibbons PC, MD Advantage Insurance Company, Adler Aphasia Center, and by University Hospital, Newark, New Jersey. Promotional support provided by Insider NJ, and by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.
When I started working with children with autism over 25 years ago, my mission began. Autism is a multifaceted spectrum condition which challenges our system of standard norms. What autism has taught me is that there is no cookie-cutter child. Our differences ought to be celebrated, not separated. So today, take a moment to say hi or smile at someone who might be a bit different. Acceptance starts with you.